When someone thinks to themselves, hey, I want to start making music, the last thing they ever expect is that reverb is going to make or break their song. About 90% of the feedback I've either given or received is always about more reverb, less reverb, or when to use none at all. So to help you on this journey, I'm going to walk you through 9 common reverb mistakes producers make when using reverb. Mistake number 1 is using way too many reverbs, especially in a scenario where just one will do. In this project file is a drum pattern made up of 14 different tracks. I've made the mistake for you of putting a reverb on every single track with no variation. Watch my CPU when I hit play. To me, it only sounds like I added one reverb, yet my CPU is at 25%. That's a quarter of my entire computer power just because I added too many reverbs. The best solution here is to delete any unnecessary reverb, group all your audio tracks, and just add one on top. It'll sound the exact same, and your computer will be doing way less work. My CPU is down to just 15%. I've saved 10% of my computer power just by being smart with how much reverb I'm using. Mistake number 2 is putting reverb on everything without context. Listeners can tell when there's direction to your choices. Even though it's using less CPU, the sound of these drums are so washed out, it feels directionless. This is how they sound with no reverb at all. As soon as I turn the reverb off, we're getting the rhythm and the groove back from the drums. We can keep this feeling while still adding some reverb back to the mix. In this case, I'm only going to be adding reverb to the percussion. These are the higher frequency textural parts of the drums, so they won't get in the way of the kick and snare. This is without the reverb, and this is with. Mistake number 3 is reaching for the EQ before you find the right reverb settings. If you force a reverb to sound the way you want, your EQ attempt will actually be audible in the mix. Fortunately, in Neoverb Pro, I can use the Reverb Assistant, which will analyze the percussion in real time and give me custom settings that'll fit the things I'm looking for. This is off, and this is on. Mistake number 4 is adding layers that contradict why you're using reverb in the first place. A popular technique in modern production is to layer vinyl or white noise on a track like this. However, we already have a sense of space from the reverb. Adding a really neat layer of noise feels like we're covering the lens with a fabric instead of contributing to the existing space. What's nice here is I can just duplicate the reverb from my percussion, drag it on top of the noise, and play with the settings to get a nice blend of both. My next step is to take these chords and add them to the song, which brings us to mistake number 5. Not every sense of space needs to be from reverb. I want these chords to feel full, and adding reverb just makes them feel like they're bleeding in the background. Switching over to Nectar Pro, I'm setting up a slapback delay. The left ear and the right ear are playing at slightly different times, so we get this really nice feeling like we're in a park listening to a megaphone. Mistake number 6 is not choosing a consistent reverb space. For example, this is a lead I just put down. All of the reverb I've been using so far has a short decay, which makes us feel like we're in a small room. Listen to how it sounds when I put a long decay on this lead. It sounds nice, but it's not connecting with the song. So if I go and find a preset like Small Toy Room and we get that shorter decay, instantly the lead feels like it's in the same space, working with the other sounds. Here's another before and after so you can really feel the difference. Mistake number 7 is not controlling your reverb and just letting it run without any sort of automation. Think about reverb like italics, and now imagine reading a book where every word was italicized. Nothing would be truly emphasized because it's all the same level of excitement. So, here's an example of an intro I did where I didn't automate anything and I made this mistake. Having the reverb bleed through just feels unfulfilling. So what you want to do is wiggle the dry wet slider and see where it is in your actual DAW. Go to that section, automate it, and create a curve. Just like that, it completely emphasizes when the last section ends and the next one starts. Mistake number 8 is just leaving reverb alone. Sometimes it's nice to add some audio effects after, like saturation. In Nectar Pro, I can pull up some saturation with a retro preset, and we're gonna get some nice color and texture on top of the reverb. Funny enough, mistake number 9 is when producers follow every single rule they hear without considering what their song needs. Sometimes breaking the rules will result in a better feeling. For example, the very first thing I heard is that you're not supposed to put reverb on sub bass. It'll muddy up the frequencies, it'll make it less powerful, and I have an 808 right here. I like the timbre of it, but right now this song feels very airy and chill, and I almost think that adding the 808 is a little too grounding. Weirdly enough, I decided to throw Neoverb on the 808. It kept the nice overtones, and it just sunk it into the back right behind the chords to where they blend into this nice, beautiful atmosphere. Because reverb is a subtle art, I'm gonna turn off all the reverb that I just added throughout this video, and as I'm playing the before, I'll start turning them back on so you can hear the difference. decided to check, and after doing all of that reverb, still 5% behind mistake number 1. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you use any of the techniques in this video, feel free to tag me and iZotope and we'll be sure to check it out. Peace.